Happy Saturday, people. Now I got to talk about something that people have been asking me about for a good minute, and that is industry politics. All right, now let me first say that the reason I haven't really addressed it for a while is just because of the fact that the way people a lot of people have asked me is really from a standpoint where it would be kind of gossipy and conspiracy theory like, and that's just not my thing. But I will say, hey, since I said it, let's go ahead and hop off the deep end. Yes, weird things do happen. Yes, there's some weird things that you heard that do happen that are not happening. And yes, there are some weird things that might have happened like 100 years ago or something like that. And then, people keep spreading the stories because it keeps people attention and it's interesting. And I'm only saying this because so I can communicate how I think about it. So that might help you ask me another question or know not to ask me a question. The way I think about it is this. I don't go down certain rabbit holes because it's a distraction to me. I'm trying to move forward, and that stuff you can get lost in. Now you're trying to put this piece of the puzzle. I'm not a journalist or like I'm not some kind of investigator for the law. I have no reason to go to a certain extent on some of these stories, especially when we talk about people's personal lives. Why? Now, all I need to know is a few things and know that I have certain principles. When I encounter certain situations, I handle them according to those principles. Do not exchange your principles for, let's say, money or some other temporary things, because that's how people build leverage on you. It just is what it is. And a lot of politics can be reduced down to two things: relationships and leverage. Really one thing, relationships. Leverage is how you can move beyond and navigate those relationships. That's pretty much politics. And I'm like, people, when you talk about a lot of that weird stuff in the creative industry, especially, a lot of people do things in the name of creativity. People are even just assholes in the sake of creativity. And I'm talking about whether when I say creative, it could be producer, director, actor, singer, rapper, whatever. That's just how it is, entertainment industry. But when you look at the relationships from that standpoint, people have experience with relationships in high school, right? There's popularity and clout in high school, and people do certain things that they wouldn't do around other people or act different in front of different people. It's the same thing amplified to a different level, a higher level with higher risk maybe, or higher stakes. Same thing. If you want to get super, super deep into certain politics, political tactics and things like that, go research government, because people just call it politics, and then you can copy and paste that to pretty much every industry, because it's human nature. Different moves or different language, but it's still, I make this decision because I want to make this decision. I trade this song with this person because we're equal level, or we're both kind of big artists, and now we can, if I do this, now we don't have to pay money. There's different kind of leverage. There's money, there's relationships, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty much politics in a nutshell. Once again, if you want to go super deep, just research politics from a government standpoint, and it's the same thing. Other than that, you want to think about it from the standpoint of the three brands that I mentioned, and that was I'll have to put it up in somewhere, or maybe even put it in the description. But I did a video a good minute ago, and one of the brands was basically the brands you have with your fan, and another one was the brand that you have with your peers. That's a real thing, because the brand that you have with your fans, sometimes it can help you with your peers, right? If you are hot at the moment, boy, you better use that to make as many relationships as possible and do as much as possible, because while you're hot, more people will be willing to meet with you. Once you lose that hot period, then people will just act different, right? There's sometimes they will be calling you a billion times, and then next thing you know, it's hard to get in contact with them. It's a real thing. I think it's probably happened to all of us at this point. It might even just happen to you with like a girlfriend or something, whatever. That's a very real thing. But in that back end brand, building that with your peers is really going to help you really navigate certain situations after your hot period, or it's going to help you become hot. At the end of the day, connections can be more powerful than money and talent in the music industry. It just is what it is. Actually, and that reminds me, I got to update you guys on the whole networking thing. I said I was working on that. What I did go ahead and do was I just wrote out a document, 3 hacks to networking in the music industry. Just a few things that I've already kind of thought about and wrote out. You guys can get that in the description below. It's free. It's not a product or anything like that yet, but I will hit you guys up, some of you guys definitely who are interested in that, and ask y'all more detail on what exactly you're looking for and some of your questions when it comes to networking, because I want to be sure I addressed what's actually important to you, because sometimes y'all ask me questions and I answer the question, and I know sometimes y'all are probably like, that's not exactly what I asked, but I see what you're saying though. So I'm trying to get and understand people's specific questions as much as possible. So I'll definitely be reaching out to some of y'all directly who download the 3 networking hacks for the music industry and chop it up with y'all. So other than that though, y'all have a great Saturday. I got some things that I got to do. Y'all have a great Sunday. Have a great weekend. Peace.